Hi, welcome to Reading on Headlines, where I do tarot readings on news headlines. And right now, I'm gonna read for pretty much all of the Republicans that are running for president so far. Let's first show you what the headline is: a guide to Republicans running for president so far. So there are a shit ton. I don't know if it's the same for the Democrats. If it is, I might do a reading on that as well. Let me know if that is something that you're interested in. I'd have to get a list of the Democrats that are running. Of course, we have Donald Trump. We have Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, I think it's called, Asa Hutchinson, Doug Burgum, Larry Elder, and then I also had this one, Mayor Francis Suarez, the mayor from Miami. So I did a bunch of readings on this already yesterday, but I forgot to record. So let's start with Mr. Donald Trump. So here I'm gonna have the cards. I'm gonna use a different deck than yesterday, just because I don't know, I like the look of these. So let me actually show me on camera too. So let's get some cards for Donald Trump, and I'm definitely gonna do a reading on his indictment and everything, but this is just his run for president. So what do we have? We're starting with the Queen of Pentacles, work-life balance. So something in his personal life that is going to affect his career. We have the Death card, transformation, really big changes happening. And then we have the Five of Wands, conflict, like holy shit. There are some really big changes happening in his personal life, and that is absolutely affecting his work life as a politician. I mean, I think that is very obvious, so I didn't really expect to get anything different in this reading. But yeah, you can see that the view of people, like how people view him, is really gonna change, I think, during everything coming out. Like, of course, his like posse, his really dedicated fan base, which he does have, aren't really gonna care much. But I think that there will be enough people who are going to change their mind about him. We have Two of Cups and we have the Chariot card. He's just going to keep moving on. He's just going to keep moving on, moving forward as though, not necessarily as though nothing is happening, but he definitely has people around him that are like his yes men, and that will do anything that he asks them to, and that is going to help him move forward within his running campaign. So let's take a look at what themes we can see here. Purity and adventures. He is gonna try to claim his innocence. He's gonna try and act like he's so pure and that he's like the right man for the job, of course. Then here with adventures, I'm just thinking, like, this is like as a theme for his campaign. Adventures. Interesting. I'm quite new with reading with this deck, so let me take a look at the guidebook, what the guidebook has to say for adventures. I have a feeling, but let me just see what it says here. Something exciting is around the corner, entering a new frontier filled with expansive energy. Begin to look at your world in new and different ways. Something that you thought was mundane or someone whom you may have overlooked will open the door to new opportunities and bigger, bolder way of living. Interesting. So it's almost as if his way of living really has to do with his campaign in some way. I don't really know how that's going to work out exactly, but it's going to be interesting to watch how it plays out. I definitely did more detailed readings yesterday, but I can't today. So, oh no, I do want to take a look at some skeletons in his closet. I am using the Dark Mirror Oracle for that because I think it's great. So what are the skeletons in his closet? We have revenge, been hurt, and getting back at people. So revenge. It's I feel like what is being done to him right now and the people who are responsible, because he is definitely not seeing any or he's not acknowledging any responsibility so far. He feels like there are other people responsible for him being indicted, being arrested, whatever, right now, and he sees that certain people are responsible for that, and he's going to try and get back at them. Very petty energy, really petty energy. It should be some like spent somewhere else, the energy. I also got obsession, losing yourself, focusing on one thing. So if he is losing himself in this obsession, it's not going to turn out well for him. It's not going to turn out well for him. So yeah, that is the energy on Mr. Trump. So while I clean away these cards, the next candidate that I'm going to be looking at is Ron DeSantis. So he is like governor of Florida. I know that he used to be endorsed by Trump, but then started running for president himself, and Trump didn't really like that. So let's take a look at what the cards have to say about Ron DeSantis running for president. I want to know about his campaign. I want to know about his energy. We have the Ace of Wands, passion, energy. I mean, very, very energetic. He feels like he's gonna make some serious fucking changes. He really cares about this shit. We have the Empress. We have strength. He seems to... He's gonna run to the very, very end until he's sometimes there are already people who have gone out of the race, like will no longer be running for president, but he's going to see this through. He really has the confidence. He really thinks he can be the Republican president, like what is it, like in the main election, the official elections. He thinks that he can beat Donald Trump. He really truly does. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles. He definitely seems to have more of a plan. He is more focused on this than Trump is. Like, Trump has a shit ton of other things going on right now, and DeSantis, even though he's governor of Florida, so he should have some other things to be focused on, he's really focused on this. And then we have the Star. Like I said, he really truly has the hope that he's gonna be this, he's gonna do this. So I want some more information on how his campaign is actually gonna go. I have the Magician. He might actually get this shit done. He might actually get shit done because people are looking up to him. Holy shit. I don't like Ron DeSantis. I think that's pretty clear, but he might actually get this done. Freedom. That's like gonna be one of his main themes for his campaign. Focus, like I said, he really has that focus. He really is able to focus a lot on his campaign because he isn't being like fucking arrested and indicted. Gateway. This is interesting because this is the card that I pulled for Donald Trump yesterday, and I read it as Donald Trump being a gateway for people to open up about their racism, basically. When Donald Trump was elected president, and I think Ron DeSantis has similar energy, where if he runs for president for the Republican Party, if he is elected to do that, then he's gonna serve as a gateway for even more transphobia, homophobia. He's gonna be that gateway for all of these horrible shit laws that are right now being passed in Florida. Under him, it's going to be a gateway for other states to do the same thing. Because it feels like a validation of, okay, he's been doing all of that stuff in his own state, but maybe we shouldn't do it in our state just yet because we don't really want to get the backlash. But if Ron DeSantis gets elected to run for president for the Republican Party, then other states are going to follow suit, which I'm pretty sure some of them already are, but it's going to be elevated. So let's take a look at what are the skeletons in his closet. I have alone in the world, power in solitude, need for pause. Interesting. So that to me feels like, ooh, does he feel like, does he have trust issues? Does he have trust issues? Is he going at this like way too hard right now? Like I said, he's very focused on this, and maybe he's focused a little bit too much. Like where Donald Trump didn't really seem to be very focused on running for president right now because he has so much going on. It feels like Ron DeSantis is on the other side of the spectrum where he's focused on it a little bit too much and needs to take a little break from that. Then also I have is this me needing to recognize yourself and sort of getting lost. Yeah, so I wonder what Ron DeSantis' history is, if he is always thought this way that he's presenting himself as right now, or if he sort of really lost himself, or throughout the campaign he might be letting go of some of the things that made him want to run for president, that made other people want him to run for president. Like he's gonna lose some of the things that made him wanna run for president, or that made other people want to vote for him. So that is what I got on Ron DeSantis. That was interesting. Very different vibe than what I read for him yesterday. I always love that with tarot. Sometimes it is similar, sometimes it's really different. So the next person is Mike Pence. He was Trump's vice president. Let's see. He refused to sidestep the Constitution and help Trump overturn the 2020 elections. While Pence's profile placed him in the physical path of January 6th, the insurrection storming of the Capitol, it could also complicate his run for president. He'll be challenging his former boss, but has tried very hard not to be too critical of Trump. And he will, in particular, try to appeal to evangelical voters. Okay, let's take a look. Again, I did a reading on him yesterday, and I'm interested to see what it's gonna turn out right now. We have Knight of Pentacles, also very focused on goals. He very much knows what he's doing. And even if he is not the main person that people want to run for president for the Republican Party, he has not lost hope because he has a plan. We have the Five of Cups. There's something in his past that he regrets. I don't know if it's necessarily working with Donald Trump, but there are some things in his past that he regrets doing. Then we have the Artist, which is a card that is specific to this deck, and it's about creation. Let me actually get the guidebook. I haven't really pulled this card much before. Visionary, interpreter, creation, passionate. So he definitely seems passionate about this. We saw this here with the focus on the goals. It's funny that like the visionary for this old dude, like most of them are old dudes. Let's be real. The current American president is an old dude. So it's interesting that he seems to have something to be able to offer something that the other candidates can't. I don't know if that is the evangelical voter base that he's gonna be able to appeal to. I'm unsure, but there's something that is gonna be visionary, something that's gonna be very different from the other people running for office. Then we have Six of Cups. This usually talks about children. I don't know if he has children or if he involves his children in his politics a lot, but there might be something having to do with children. Maybe he's gonna, like his running campaign is gonna be very centered around children, the well-being of children. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. Interesting. This to me is also very focused on goals. But the Page and the Knight of Pentacles here together make me think that he is already very well on his way to what he wants to achieve. So that's really interesting. Huh. Or maybe... Oh, could this be like... Usually when you run for president, do you already have someone in mind or someone running alongside of you who's going to be vice president? Because I feel like he's going to surround himself with someone who's quite a bit younger. Very similar to me to Joe Biden running with Kamala Harris. I have no idea how old Kamala Harris is, but there's like a big age difference there, right? So that way he can appeal to not just the older voters, but also the younger voters, because he'll be running alongside someone who's younger. So I don't know if he's already running with someone else for vice, like that is going to be his vice president. I'm not really sure. But we might be seeing that. Or just someone like an advisor who is quite a bit younger, who has like a more fresh take. So that is maybe where the visionary idea comes from here. Then we have action. So even though he's old, he's definitely going to be putting action to his plans, or he's going to look very actionable in his running campaign. We have courage. It does take a shit ton of courage to run against your previous boss, especially because that boss was so well loved in the Republican Party. So I think that I don't know if he's necessarily going to lean into the courageous part of him, or if there are going to be things coming out that show that he has courage. Let me see. We have blinded to pain. This is the skeletons in the closet. Blinded to pain. Carrying pain allowed to feel. So there might be some old traumas that he's trying to work through, or that are going to be coming up, or that are going to affect him emotionally, physically, whatever, spiritually, maybe even. In his campaign. And then we also have Temple of My Body, shame, guilt. Did he, and maybe this was something that came up yesterday as well, I don't really recall if that was for him, but did Mike Pence previously, was he like inappropriate with other people? Because this is like a card that reminds me of being taken advantage of. And I don't know if this necessarily happened to him. It's a skeleton in his closet, so I'm assuming that it might be something that Mike Pence was inappropriate with someone else. I don't really know. It's all alleged and for entertainment purposes only. It's on the screen. Don't yell at me. But there's something, a skeleton in his closet that he feels very guilty about, that he's very shameful about. I don't know if that's necessarily going to come out in this election or in this campaign, but that's it's going to be interesting to see play out. So that was Mike Pence. Let us look at the next one. Oh, right. This one was super interesting because I didn't know about her. I don't follow American politics that much that I know about everybody. But Nikki Haley, it says here, has a stellar resume, elected governor of a southern state. I don't know why they wouldn't just name what state it is. And selected as Trump's first ambassador to the United Nations. She would be the first woman and non-white Republican nominee if she can somehow emerge with the nomination. She's much younger than Trump or President Biden, and she has made age a centerpiece of her campaign, argued for some kind of age-based competency test, which is an interesting idea in terms of scoring points against the older candidates, but also a potential turnoff for primary voters in a party that skews older. That's really interesting. I love the reading that I did on her yesterday, but we're gonna see what comes out today about Nikki Haley, her energy. Come on. Nikki Haley, her energy. Let's take a look. We have Page of Pentacles. Again, skews younger, still early in her career, but age is definitely going to play a role in her campaign. We have the Ace of Cups, her youth, her emotions. There's something about her emotions, and I don't know if it's... Oh, I remember yesterday I read about how she seemed to be very... like not necessarily like a cold bitch, but very like how many people would say that women can't be leaders because they're too emotional. I think it's interesting that the Ace of Cups comes up right now because yesterday it was the exact opposite. We have the Hermit, introspection. She seems to be very self-aware, so there's nothing that others can say about her that she doesn't already know, or if they're like lying, she'll know that it's all bullshit. She is very optimistic and very energetic, very lively. Interesting. So I think that not just is she younger, but she also just has that younger energy, which might be something that that people are going to be really attracted to with her. Queen of Cups. She seems to be really, truly caring about this. Nine of Wands and then Queen of Wands. I definitely see leadership capabilities for her. I really do see that. She can be a very I think her energy is very warm, very caring, but she can be very cutthroat when she needs to be. This is like when you think of the female leader, this is kind of the energy, right? Super self-aware, so people can't like bullshit her into things or something like that. She has a very warm, kind, and confident radiance about her, while still being determined and being able to push through. There might be something towards the end of her campaign where she is thinking of quitting, but I am unsure of whether or not she will quit. It all depends on more of the circumstances around the other candidates, I think. Again, very youthful, very energetic presence she has. I think she's going to be super interesting to follow. So that is what I see in the tarot. Let's take a look at some like main themes for her campaign. What are we going to see? Illumination. Yeah, really truly something new. And illumination can also indicate shining a light on something specific. So there might be something that she is going to highlight in her campaign that we don't really see highlighted in any other campaigns. So instead of the usual Republican talking points, she might be bringing actually something new. Purity. We saw this for Donald Trump as well. She's gonna try and capitalize on the fact that, yes, she has a stellar resume. So I assume she already has a lot of political experience, work experience, but she's also quite a bit younger, I think, right? I think so. So she's gonna capitalize on that as well. Let's see what the skeletons in her closet are. The Dark Mirror Oracle. What are the skeletons in her closet? We have envious gluttony. This is a need to recognize your jealousy. So I don't know if this is something that is just personal for her, something that has to do with jealousy or just mistrust. I don't know if she's married. I don't know if her partner is faithful to her. Might be something like that, something from the past that people are going to try and dig up. And we have gilded regret, missed opportunities, and living in the past. So seeing these two together, I don't know if it's, again, something from her past or if it has to do with her competitors, her opposition. Because Mike Pence has already been president. Ron DeSantis is a fucking governor of Florida and being in the news a lot. Donald Trump was already president. So there might be some jealousy there by all of the experience and all the attention that they're getting. But also she wants to be like the more fun and caring type of alternative to that. So even though there might be some jealousy there, I don't know. It's interesting. So here we have missed opportunities, gilded regret, regretting something. So that she might have some skeletons in her closet that have to do with being super regretful. So I have no idea what that is about, but that is something that might be coming out during her campaign, because I know in America, you guys always love to bash the opposition, bash your competition, instead of just focusing on why you are right for the job, focusing on why others aren't right for the job. So that's always great. Okay, next one. We have Tim Scott. I did do a reading on him yesterday as well. He is Senator of South Carolina. Only Black Republican in the US Senate. Wait, no, he is senator, but from South Carolina, I think. Yeah. I think the Senate is what we have something similar, I think, in the Netherlands. He's appealing to conservatives, but he has a record of actually working across party lines on police reform and more. But Trump at least has not viewed him as a threat. Trump has mercilessly attacked DeSantis, but then congratulated Scott at entering the race. Okay, let's take a look at Tim Scott. What is Tim Scott's energy? We have temperance, balance. So bringing balance between the two parties, being maybe a little bit more of a moderate candidate. Then we have the Seven of Cups, delusions. So where Donald Trump is not seeing him as a threat, he might be like wearing this mask, wearing this, I don't want to say it, like wearing a mask where he doesn't seem very threatening, but there's a lot more under the surface to that. Then we have, again, the artist, visionary. So really offering something different for the Republican voter base. And then we have the Three of Swords. This is something that came up yesterday as well. So what this makes me think of, for me, the Three of Swords is a card of pain, of trauma, of things from the past. And him being in the Senate may work against him in his campaign. So I know that in the Senate, you vote for laws, whether or not they should be like placed into law or not. And I think it's public record of what senator voted for what law, yes or no. And there might be some information in there that's going to be dug up. That is what I read yesterday, and that is what this is making me think of. So that's going to be really interesting to see play out. What of his past is going to be dug up. But he's going to try and rise above it. He's going to feel like he's not necessarily like super egotistical, but he has some pride. And he's going to try and rise above it. I also just feel like he's going to try and rise above the other candidates in a way of he's not going to try to bash others as much as like Ron DeSantis and Trump probably will. We have King of Swords. He definitely seems to have an air of authority around him. He definitely seems to have leadership capabilities, I'll tell you that. So let's take a look at themes for his campaign. We have action. He's definitely not one that is going to sit still during the campaigning. He's going to show himself a lot. He is going to maybe even make Trump regret that he congratulated him and that he doesn't see him as a threat. Truth. So, and trust. So I think that by being truthful, by speaking the truth about maybe his other candidates, his opposition, or just some other things that happened or that are gonna happen politically, he's gonna be able to gain the trust because people are gonna see him as a trustworthy politician because he is so truthful. Maybe something from the past is gonna come out and he's gonna just speak the truth on it. He's gonna just be honest. He's gonna lay it all out. That is the idea that I'm getting here about Tim Scott. Now let's take a look at what skeletons he has in his closet. Let's take a look. We have envious gluttony again. So something from his past where he was really jealous of people. Again, this makes me think of like a cheating partner or something like that. And then we have colorless angel. Being cold, ignoring your pain. So definitely not the emotional type. Very professional. But there might be some things underneath the surface that he is really suppressing. Like trauma that he is suppressing, which is also something that the Three of Swords could be pointing towards, not just his past or his present, I guess, as a US senator, but also old pains, old traumas that are still affecting him, even though he's trying to push it down. So that is the reading on Tim Scott. Okay, so what I want to do right now, I'm gonna do 2 more readings because I did this yesterday too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a reading on Chris Christie because I loved the reading that I did on him yesterday, and I just think that he looks very interesting. He is a former New Jersey governor and one-time Trump cheerleader. But he had a falling out with Trump over COVID-19 and the insurrection on January 6th. So now you want to focus the skills that he honed as a U.S. attorney on Trump to make an appeal as a Republican who can win the general election. Convincing the hardline base of the party will be difficult for a person viewed as more moderate. And then we're also going to do a reading on Francis Suarez, because these other people, like, I don't know them. I've never heard of them. And, like, opposing corporate wokeism, identity politics, yeah, long shot candidate, almost unknown by most Americans, former Arkansas governor, congressman, not really. Don't care. He doesn't have a fucking picture even. Nobody knows him, I guess. And then Larry Elder, a talk radio host. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about Chris Christie and then Francis Suarez. So let's first take a look at Chris Christie. What is his energy gonna be? Chris Christie. I want to read his energy, and I want to know about his campaign, about his running campaign. We have the 10 of Cups, about family. We have strength. We have 9 of Swords, 4 of Cups, King of Wands, and 10 of Wands. So let's take a look here. He has leadership capabilities. With the King of Wands, a very warm, visionary leader. He's gonna, if he gets elected, he's gonna be able to make some really big changes. I see him as someone who can work well together with Democrats, so that is his way of actually achieving things instead of being super right-wing Republican, being very extremist, more like Ron DeSantis is. That is not the way that you actually get shit done. He knows the way that he needs to get shit done. Very charismatic. Here with strength, it looks like he has a lot of inner strength. So if people talk bullshit about him, he can rise above it. 10 of Cups. Very family oriented. I don't know if this talks about his family himself, that his family is incredibly supportive and it's going to be very visual during his campaign, or if this talks more about family being very present in his messaging, so that he's, even though he's viewed as more moderate, that, I mean, this is like a gay couple here, so maybe this does talk about him, because he's more moderate, he's also pro-gay marriage, because I definitely don't think that all Republicans are against gay marriage. So knowing that he is a more moderate candidate makes me think that that is something that people are gonna appreciate about his campaign. He does seem to have a lot of anxiety, though. He's not showing it, but this is like what feels like underneath. A lot of worrying, a lot of anxiety, maybe even a lot of nightmares. I don't know if he like some sleepless nights about this shit. And we have the 4 of Cups, which is about being not really content and being bored. What is his current occupation, and why is he actually running for president? Because I feel like he did this not necessarily because he was bored, but because he wanted to do something more exciting. And because he does have the capabilities. I think he has the capabilities, but I think that he really was unaware of how much pressure this is. And that is what the 10 of Wands here is saying to me. That he was unaware of how much pressure it is, and that is going to lead to like his nightmares, his anxiety, his worries. So that is what I'm seeing here. Let's take a look at the themes. I was thinking of the word themes for his campaign. We have inner peace. He wants more peace between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. Pleasure talks more about the fun part, so he's gonna be like a more fun, a more kind, more approachable alternative to Trump and Ron DeSantis. But he's gonna have to get over that he is viewed as more moderate. So let's take a look at the skeletons in his closet. What are the skeletons in the closet of Chris Christie? We have fragmentation, anger, confusion, I need to mend. I don't know if there's something going on in his family that, like, they appear to be very happy, but there's some fragmentation happening there. It can also indicate like a fragmentation within himself, or him fragmenting the Republican Party by being more moderate. So that's interesting. And we have calling the storm, confrontation. I don't know if there's going to be a big confrontation happening during his campaign, or if part of his campaign is confronting some of the other candidates. So that's going to be super interesting to see. Or it's a confrontation from his past that is like a skeleton in his closet that is going to come to light, that is going to be not so pretty for him. Okay, so that was Chris Christie. And then we only have one more person to look at for this reading. And that is, show you, the Miami GOP Mayor Francis. Okay, why is this looking so weird? There we go. Let's see. He has like a stellar announcement campaign. Let's look at this. This is so funny. Okay. we have
allerbeste deals zijn
terug. Ad first.
Want het zijn weer
okay.
deals bij T-Mobile.
En de tijden ook nog eens why is this ad so long? Can I skip it? Probably not. But he has a really fun. Yeah, let's take a look.
It's the best place to charge my body and clear my mind. We lived right here in Miami. This is where my parents began their American dream. This is my school. When I became mayor, I wanted to make sure every child had a shot at a great and relevant education.
This is well made.
A program that helped every child open up their own bank account. For many, that's where their American dream starts. When I was elected, the city was broke and broken, but we came together, and I won my mayoral election with over 80% of the vote. I lowered taxes to an historic low, and our economy took off, and our tax collections skyrocketed. Today, our city is a major technology hub, and we have the lowest unemployment in America because we chose to embrace innovation. Construction is everywhere. Our city is the future. Like every big city, we have problems with homelessness. We built tools to help fight addiction and mental illness. Now, instead of 6,000 homeless, we have 608, and I'm not finished yet. In Miami, we stopped waiting for Washington to lead. America's so-called leaders confuse being loud with actually leading. All Washington wants to do is fight with each other instead of fighting for the people that put them in office. My dad taught me that you get to choose your battles, and I am choosing the biggest one of my life. I'm going to run for president. I'm going to run for your children and mine. Let's give them the future they deserve. It's time.
That's pretty good. Like, that is pretty good. And if what he says is all true, that he accomplished that, that's quite impressive. So let's take a look at his cards. I want to read on him and his campaign running for president. I dropped a card. The artist, again, visionary. He's gonna really stand out between the other candidates, I feel. The star, having hope, but also giving hope to other people. Two of Cups, like, he has a way with people. Very charismatic, I feel. He shows people that there's hope for the Republican Party. He shows a very different image to the Republican Party. Again, he has a way with people. Wait, let me shuffle again. My cards got all jumbled there. Three of Cups. He's very community focused. People really love him. Again, he has a way with people. He's super charismatic. The Devil. This has to do with temptation, addiction. So again, him helping homeless people and people overcoming their addiction. is gonna be really big in his campaign. High Priestess, which is some like secrecy, privacy. That's interesting because I feel like he is very open about what he has done, but there might be some things maybe in his private life about his family that he's being more secretive about. Maybe people will appreciate that he isn't like this super open book. But again, I feel like he has a way with people, very charismatic. He's close to the people. He's close to his voter base. He truly cares. That is what I'm getting here. So very different vibe than from some of the other candidates. I remember when I did a reading for him yesterday, I got the King of Swords, King of Wands, and the King of Cups, which are all like signs that he is a great leader. So that is what I really loved about his reading yesterday. Let's take a look at some themes for his campaign. We have success. He's gonna really push what he has already achieved to show that he could be a great president. Openness. That is so interesting that I am pulling the High Priestess above openness. So maybe the High Priestess doesn't really convey privacy here and secretiveness, but more his spirituality. So I don't know, like there's this thing where many people who are Republican are also Christian or religious. Maybe he is religious too, but his spirituality is playing a really big role in his motivations for what he does and what he believes in. Openness here, maybe it's like the opposite that I actually thought with the High Priestess, where it shows that he's very open about him having struggled maybe in the past and where he came from. Again, I don't really know much about his background, but yeah, being very open is gonna be part of his strategy, I think. Let's take a look at what skeletons he has in his closet. I have blinded to pain, carrying pain, allowed to feel. So he doesn't let his emotions get in the way. He's very like businesslike. I think I read this for him yesterday as well. He's very businesslike. And then obsession, focus on one thing, losing himself. If he, let me think. Because this is like focusing on one thing way too much that you're sort of losing yourself. So that might be a pitfall for him, that there is something regarding his campaign, regarding his politics, that if he isn't careful and he's by like focusing on one thing way too much, that is gonna not work out well for him in his campaign. So for a while there we have the devil here in the middle. So again, there might be something have to do with temptation, with addiction. But if he focuses on one thing too much, he's gonna lose a large part of his voter base. So that is it for what was his name? Mayor Francis Suarez. So that was the reading for the presidential people who are running, the Republicans that are running for office right now. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I really enjoyed doing it. It was a shame that I already did it yesterday and it was really fucking good. I had like an hour of footage. But I hope that this gave you something to look at, something to think about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much, and I hope that you'll tune in next time.